and the festival of unleavened bread. And the chief priests and scribes were looking for a way to arrest Jesus by stealth and kill him. For they said, not during the festival, or there may be a riot among the people. You see the theme of popularity collecting here. We talked a little bit about it last week, that popularity for Jesus becomes a bubble and a hedge against the nefarious designs of his opponents, right? Here that gets gathered in their consult about doing away with him. Then we get to a very poignant scene. I'm going to read that as our main beginning. While Jesus was at Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, as he sat at the table, a woman with an alabaster jar of very costly ointment of nard, and she broke open the jar and poured the ointment on his head. Now some were there who said to one another in anger, why was the ointment wasted this way? For this ointment could have been sold for more than 300 denarii, about a year's wages, right? More than a year's wages. And given to the poor. And they scolded her. But Jesus said, let her alone. Why do you trouble her? She has performed a good service for me. For you always have the poor with you, famous passage, and you can show kindness to them whenever you wish. But you will not always have me. She has done what she could. She has anointed my body beforehand for its burial. Truly, I tell you, wherever the good news is proclaimed in the whole world, what she has done will be told in remembrance of her. It's a powerful story. Every once in a while I wonder, did Jesus know that later in its life, the Gospel of Mark, the verse about the poor you always have with you would be used by some people to say, well, we're always going to have them with us, so we shouldn't get rid of poverty, right? Did Jesus know that was coming, right? You've heard it used that way. Jesus was centralizing himself, right? Which isn't his custom that often. How often has he told people to shush and not make him the center of things? But we're in Jerusalem now, and we saw a shift last week into his comfort with more self-identification. He's gotten into the belly of the beast, and he's willing to be bolder. And here he lets her do this. And why? As an anointing for burial. Thrice he has told the disciples he's going to get killed, and they haven't gotten it, right? But now, just after we hear about the Pharisee or about the Jewish leaders plotting his demise, we turn over to another scene in Jerusalem or in Bethany, where he's at the house of Simon the ex-leper, right? Anybody ever seen Life of Brian by Monty Python? There's a poor guy who he used to get a lot of money for being a leper, and now he's trying to beg on the streets saying, alms for an ex-leper, alms for an ex-leper, and it's not nearly as lucrative, right? In this case, he stays at the house of somebody he may have healed, right? And this poor woman gets the backside of their hand. It's a famous enough story that you have read it before. Tonight, I want you to see its causal relationship with what happens next.